Issue 1, the most dangerous nation in the world, Pakistan. Question, is Pakistan at the crossroads?
Let's keep a little perspective about Pakistan. Pakistan is one of those infamous trusted allies in the war on terror. This is a throwback of United States policy that goes all the way back to the Cold War, where we had trusted allies in the Cold War. We propped up crackpot dictators, military juntas, and so forth, as long as they were opposed to the Soviet Union. Now it's the same thing. We see it in Pakistan. We see it, one of my favorite examples, Ethiopia's dictator Meles Zenawi, of course Saudi Arabia. The idea that Musharraf is a problem, Musharraf is our creation.
I think that this administration's deflection of focus, if that's what it is, on Iran, that focus should really be on Pakistan, because Pakistan has the bomb, and the bomb for Iran is hypothetical.
Well, what is not hypothetical is that Iran is an enemy of the United States and of the free peoples of the world. Pakistan is a bit more gray. They are nominally a democracy. They are nominally a secular state. The idea that Pakistan really ought not to be a nuclear power, well, yeah, okay, fine, and India shouldn't be a nuclear power, and so forth.
The Pakistani military is generally a moderate organization and will not permit a radical takeover. Do you think that's part of what is potential stabilizing news out of Pakistan?
Well, isn't it a little scary that we have to rely on the stability and the moderate position of the military in Pakistan to make sure that the extremist government, politicians of Pakistan, will stay in line and not abuse their nuclear power? That is just a mind-boggling proposition, and it shows just what a farce this whole geopolitical situation is in that part of the world.
Don't you think that Osama bin Laden has a dream come true
Yes.
in the situation that he's now in?
Not if this president or the next president finally decides to crack down on Musharraf specifically and Pakistan generally over this lunacy that Osama bin Laden has been able to hide in Pakistan for so long. Eventually someone, if it's not George Bush, it will be someone else in January of '09, will demand that he be captured. I mean, let's be realistic. They could have captured him certainly in the span of 6 years if they had wanted to. If they had pressured Pakistan, if we had pressured Pakistan, we could have had bin Laden by now.
Exit question on an implosion scale 0 to 10. 0 meaning zero likelihood of implosion. 10 meaning metaphysically certain implosion. Rate the danger of Pakistan imploding.
2 or 3. The ethnic conflicts, regional conflicts in Pakistan are not the same as in Iraq. The factions that are pro-Al-Qaeda, pro-Bin Laden are not that significant, and there's too much at stake.
Issue 2, follow the money. Question, the Inspector General continues to expose immense waste and corruption in Iraq. The rest of Americans believe, or are beginning to believe, that Iraq is one single big, rotten, and corrupt enterprise. Is that statement true?
I'm not going to answer that question directly. War is fiscal hell. What I do find interesting is that the same people here who blast our wasteful spending in Iraq are the exact same people, for the most part, who insist that the way to cut costs and streamline the United States healthcare system would be by having the government take it over. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh my God, look how terrible government is in managing money when it comes to war, but we would do a wonderful job doing it, having socialized medicine. It's just mind-boggling. Yes, the war is a fiscal nightmare because government is a fiscal nightmare, and no Democrat would be any better. Then add on Social Security 2017, Medicare down the road too, and it's just going to be unbelievable. And the dollar is only going to get worse, deficits are only going to get worse, trade imbalance is only going to get worse, etc., and so on.
Exit question. Has America's decline as a superpower begun?
I think so, but I think it's going to be a very long, drawn-out, multi-generational process. It took a century or more for the United States to rise to dominance in the world, and it will probably take a century for it to sort of decline. The big question mark, besides profligate spending on the war and so forth, is, of course, the entitlement nightmare. The fact that we have a Medicare funding crisis, a Social Security funding crisis, and we've had 8 years of gridlock where theoretically something could have been done, at least in terms of not making the problem worse. And what did we get? We got Bush spending more money than Lyndon Johnson. We got No Child Left Behind. We got an Iraq War. And now, in January 2009, we're going to have 4 years, perhaps 8 years, of a Democratic president, a Democratic House, and a Democratic Senate, perhaps even a filibuster-proof Democratic Senate. What is fiscal irresponsibility going to look like in 2009 with the next administration? Do you really think that any kind of progress is going to be made on Social Security, on Medicare, any kind of entitlement reform? You think earmarks are going to be stopped? Pork is going to be stopped?
Prediction.
This was actually my prediction even before I knew that this was going to be the last segment. $1 trillion federal budget deficits by 2020.
Bye-bye.